Your daughter's forehead is a furnace. You know it without a thermometer because thermometers were bartered away months ago. The cut on her shin, the one from the fence she climbed last week, has gone from pink to angry red to something that smells like a wet penny. 9 months off the grid, and your medicine cabinet tells the whole story. Empty bottles lined up like little plastic headstones. The ibuprofen ran out at cream lasted a month. The triple antibiotic cream lasted a month. The rubbing alcohol, the hydrogen peroxide, the gauze, the cough syrup, all of it gone, used up or traded for things that mattered more at the time. You tried the old pharmacy yesterday, picked clean down to the linoleum. Came home with a pack of shoelaces and a fading flashlight, and somewhere in your gut, a voice is telling you it's over. But here's the thing, most preppers will never admit out loud. You don't need a bunker full of freeze-dried lasagna to keep your family breathing through the worst months of your life. You don't need a pharmacy. You don't need a generator the size of a refrigerator. You need 2 ingredients. 2. That's it. 2 boring, cheap, stupidly ordinary things sitting in almost every kitchen in America right now, and together they have kept human beings alive through famines, plagues, sieges, and every apocalypse the last 10,000 years have thrown at us. Grab your coffee. Stay with me. We're about to walk through something they never taught you in school, and by the end I'm going to show you the one trick that lets these 2 ingredients outlive you, your kids, and probably your grandkids, because yes, that's actually a thing. The 2 ingredients are salt and honey. I know. I can hear you through the screen. Salt and honey. That's it? That's the big secret? Yeah, that's it. And that boring answer is exactly why most people are going to be in serious trouble when the trucks stop rolling. Because when the supply chain breaks, and history says it will at some point, the people who survive are not the ones with the fanciest gear. They are the ones who understood the unglamorous basics before everybody else caught on. Let me show you what these 2 actually do. Because it's a lot more than you think. Start with salt, sodium chloride, the cheapest rock in your cabinet. Cold, dry, boring, and the single most important preservative in human history. Before refrigeration, before canning, before Tupperware, salt was the reason civilizations could travel further than their last kill. Roman soldiers were literally paid in it. That's where the word salary comes from. Think about that. An entire empire ran on the back of the same white stuff you sprinkle on fries. Here's what salt actually does when the world ends. It pulls water out of everything it touches. Meat, fish, vegetables, your own wounds. And bacteria, the real villains of any post-collapse world, need water to multiply. Take the water away, and you take away their army. Salt turns your kitchen into hostile territory for the microbial invaders who would otherwise turn your pantry into a biohazard. In 4 days flat, you've got a deer. No power, no freezer. A month ago, you would have panicked. Now you pack it in salt, thick, aggressive, like you're burying it. 3 to 4 pounds of salt per 10 pounds of meat, layered, pressed, drained, resalted. In a week and a half, you've got cured meat that keeps for months without a single kilowatt of electricity. Pioneers did it. Vikings did it. Your great-great-grandma did it before she knew what a refrigerator was. But salt isn't just food. It's medicine. A teaspoon of salt in a liter of clean water is oral rehydration solution. That's the same formula the World Health Organization credits with saving over 50 million lives from dehydration, mostly from diarrhea. Which, fun fact, is still one of the top 5 killers on this planet and will absolutely be number 1 when the water stops coming out of your tap. Add a pinch of sugar if you've got it, and you've got a field hospital in a coffee mug. And wounds? A saline rinse, basically salt water, is how hospitals clean wounds when they don't want to use antibiotics. Too much salt burns tissue, sure, but the right concentration, around 9 grams per liter, roughly a level teaspoon, creates an environment where bacteria struggle and your white blood cells can go to work. Free, sterile. Shelf stable forever, which brings me to the part that trips most folks up. Salt does not expire. Ever. That pile of rocks sitting under the ocean has been there for 100 million years, give or take, and it's still perfectly fine to put on a steak. Buy a 50-pound bag for under $20 and you have more preservation power than a warehouse of freezers. Okay, honey. Ingredient number 2, and this one is where it gets a little spooky. Archaeologists opened a tomb in Egypt a while back and found jars of honey buried with the pharaohs. 3,000 years old. Still edible. Still sweet. Still, honestly, better than half the stuff in your fridge right now. Let that sink in. A civilization rose, fell, was conquered, buried, forgotten, and rediscovered, and the honey didn't care. It just sat there, waiting. Honey is nature's quiet little weapon against decay, and hardly anyone teaches you how to actually use it. Here's the science. Honey is hygroscopic, which is a nerdy way of saying it pulls water out of whatever it touches, same general idea as salt. It's also got a pH around 3.9, which is more acidic than tomato juice. And bees add an enzyme called glucose oxidase that slowly releases tiny amounts of hydrogen peroxide. That's right. Your jar of honey is quietly manufacturing its own disinfectant. Put those 3 things together and you have a substance bacteria cannot survive in. At all. Raw, unpasteurized honey on a second-degree burn heals faster than most over-the-counter ointments. The British Medical Journal has published study after study on this. In some hospitals, they still use medical-grade honey for wounds that antibiotics can't crack, including MRSA, the superbug that eats the inside of other patients for breakfast. Got a sore throat? A spoonful of honey beats cough syrup in pediatric studies. Got a cut that won't close? Honey. Got a burn? Honey. Got 0 calories to spare and need a shot of quick energy before you walk another 10 miles? Honey. It's basically a jar full of glucose, which your brain runs on, and your brain, by the way, is your best piece of survival gear, so keep it fueled. All right, quick pause. If you've made it this far into a video about 2 pantry items, you're my kind of strange, and you should probably hit that subscribe button, because the algorithm is about to bury content like this the second it actually starts mattering, and you do not want to be the one searching for this at 3 in the morning when the lights have been out for a week. Save the channel now. Thank yourself later. Now here's where it gets good. Because salt and honey alone are useful, but salt and honey together are something else entirely. Remember that oral rehydration solution I mentioned earlier? The one the WHO says has saved 50 million people? The original formula calls for salt and sugar. Swap the sugar for honey, which your body absorbs even faster, and you've got the most effective home remedy for dehydration, dysentery, and heat stroke ever devised by anyone, anywhere. I've used a version of this myself on a long hike when I bonked hard, and within 20 minutes I could stand up without the world tilting, make jerky. Salt cures the meat, honey acts as an antibacterial glaze and gives you a sugar punch when you need it. Make a wound dressing, a salt water rinse first, a thin coat of honey second, a clean cloth third. Make a sore throat fix. Warm water, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of honey, gargle. Swallow. Repeat. It works on day 1 of civilization, and it'll still work on day 1000. And here's the part nobody mentions. These 2 ingredients are the only things in your pantry that will genuinely outlast you if you store them right. Salt in a dry bucket. Honey in a sealed glass jar, out of sunlight. That's it. No rotation, no inventory management, no expiration anxiety. Buy it once, forget about it, and in 30 years it's still going to be there, still going to be working, still going to be ready for the day you need it. I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment and tell me what's the longest you've ever had a jar of honey sitting in the back of a cupboard. Be honest. I'll start. Mine is 11 years. Still perfect. I want to see who's got me beat. And more importantly, I want folks scrolling this video to realize they already have this stuff in their kitchen right now. Why does any of this actually matter? Because when the system that feeds you breaks, and I'm not being dramatic here, every single civilization has hit that wall at some point. The people who make it to the other side aren't the warriors. They're the ones who can preserve food, treat a wound, rehydrate a sick kid, and do it all without a single piece of equipment that needs to be plugged in. The fancy gear gets looted in week 1. The knowledge stays with you. There's a line a French writer once put something like this way, and I'm going to butcher it, but stay with me. The oldest solutions survive because the universe keeps testing them, and they keep passing. Salt and honey have been passing that test for 10,000 years. Your freeze-dried backpack has been around since Tuesday. So here's what you do. Tomorrow, not next year, not when the news gets weird, tomorrow. Buy a 50-pound sack of plain non-iodized salt for preservation and a smaller box of iodized for cooking. Buy 5 to 10 pounds of raw local honey, the kind that crystallizes, because crystallized honey is the real stuff. Put them somewhere dry and dark, and forget about them. That's your insurance policy. That's your pharmacy, your pantry, your field hospital, all in 2 jars and a bucket, for less than the price of 1 dinner out. The world ends in a lot of ways. Slowly, like a supply chain unraveling. Fast, like a blackout that never comes back. Quietly, like a family running out of options in a town nobody's coming to save. In any of those stories, the people holding salt and honey are 2 steps ahead of the ones who aren't. Not because they have more, because they understood before everyone else that the boring answers are usually the right ones. You walk back into your place. Your kid's fever is still there, that cut still smells wrong. But you remember, you mix the saline, you clean the wound, you dab the honey, you spoon a little into warm water with a pinch of salt, and you hold the cup while she drinks. By morning, the fever's broken, the cut's clean, and you learn something the rest of the neighborhood is about to learn the hard way. If this one gave you something useful, hit the like button so more people get this in their feed before they need it, and subscribe for the next one, because the next video is about the single most overlooked item in your house that could get you through a 2-week blackout. And you really don't want to miss it.